Welcome to this. It's the new McLaren 720S. Think of it as a Super Series version 2.0. It's all new, replaces the 650S. Now, I say all new, it's about 91% new, but everything on the exterior is part of that newness. So it's got these kind of waspy, sharky headlights. I quite like them. There's quite a lot of clever aero going on in this car. So they divert into here. These ones divert out the front. There are scoops. Rather than being stuck on the side of the car, it now channels air at very high velocity down the inside of the car, making this cabin slightly narrower than before. I'll come to that in a minute, towards the engine, which I will also come to in a moment. So, new is this new carbon fibre cell. It doesn't have any steel around the windscreen surrounds anymore. It's all carbon fibre over the top. That makes it 18 kilos lighter than the 650S's cage, and it also means that the weight of the centre of gravity is lower because all the steel has gone from the top. So, moving back, there is now a 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 engine. Do not think of it as a reboard stroked version of the 3.8. However, of the 91% newness, a lot of the 9% carryover is in the engine because this engine is 60% revised from the way it was before. It drives through a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox to the rear wheels only. There is still no mechanical limited slip differential. And at the back, there is a full width rear wing. 650S only had a centre section one. It is much more aerodynamically efficient. I don't know about you, I think the full width rear wing looks much better too. Now, all in, this car weighs about 1,420 kilos at the curb, which is about the same as a Porsche 911 GT3, which I think is pretty good for a twin-turbocharged V8 supercar with 720 metric horsepower. So what we'll do is we'll go and have a look inside and then we'll go for a drive. So welcome inside it, and it is unbelievably light and airy in here. There's glass everywhere all round, and that actually means that there's 210 litres of luggage space just behind me, as well as the 150 litres in the bonnet. Now, one of the reasons that they've done that is because this cabin is slightly narrower. So to give it more airiness and visibility and not feel like you're elbowing your passenger, they've just put loads of light in here. It reminds me a little bit of the original Honda NSX or a Ferrari 355 in the amount you can see out. Is really cool. I think it is like nothing else in the class. Now, this one's got optional racing buckets, which are really good, really superb. Get your back right in them. The driving position, as with all McLarens, is just spot on. You could use either foot on the brake. The steering wheel adjusts massively. Now you've got this new sort of swoopy instrument binnacle in front of me. I quite like it up. You can have it down sometimes, and it's got a minimal display on it. I just quite like it where it is, frankly. And then on the rest of the cabin, well, the material quality just feels that bit higher. And also, they've revised all this stuff in the middle. So, the Iris display runs a set of new software. There goes that screen, look, and it just gives speed and rev counter, but not in the easiest to read fashion. So anyway, new Iris system, which has got the nav and all that sort of communication stuff. It does it all much better, just trust me, it just does it all much better than before. What it's still also got is this sort of active driving panel where you can change the handling modes between comfort. There's no normal anymore. There's no normal sport and track because no McLaren is normal. So it's comfort, sport and track for the same for the powertrain. It's all slightly more complicated perhaps than it needs to be, but it's pretty clever, and I'll go into it out on the road. In short, this is a really cool cabin. I really like the way it is designed, the sense of space, the sense of ease of driving because of the visibility is bang on. So here we go, on the road in what is, without doubt, the most powerful car in its class. One of the more powerful cars on sale, 720 metric horsepower. I mean, that is a sensational amount of that. It's almost 100 brake more than a McLaren F1. But I'm doing what, 73 kilometers an hour. Automatic is in 5th gear. I've got all of the stuff on this panel in its softest mode. I mean, this is a really easy car to drive. And I know that sounds weird, it's a supercar. Should it necessarily be an easy car to drive? Well, when it comes to actually, you know, you wake up in the morning and you've got a Range Rover outside, but, you know, you see a 720S sitting there and you think, you know what, yeah, actually I will take the McLaren today. Why not? I'm just going to work. But because you can see everything, because the driving position is superb, because this steering is just lovely, really, really nice. It's about 2.5 turns lock to lock, and it's, oh God, it's just so good. It's hydraulic assistance rather than electric assistance still, and it's got the right amount of self-centering, it's got the right amount of weight. It is beautiful. You occasionally get a little nibble back from the road as you just turn and it hits a bump. You can tell what the front wheels are up to, and it just kicks back through the steering a tiny amount. I do have the active panel. Now this is still a little bit of a fact because I've got to press active, and that puts me telling me, yes, all right, I've got to be in a straight line for the mode to change. I've got to push that to get the gearbox into manual. I've got to do that if I want to firm up the dampers. Go through sport to track. Don't want to do that on the road. I mean, it's fine, but there's really no need. The instrument medical flips as you do it. We'll put the powertrain, mind you, through. That should make it louder. But if you're looking for the audible quality of a 488 GTB, I don't think you get that same. You certainly don't get the same level of volume. I'm not sure you totally get the same kind of quality either. That Ferrari has just got that certain something about its engine note that this does not have. So it's easy to drive. Is it exciting to drive? Yes, it is. And in some ways, you know, look, cars are so fast. They're so capable that you really, on the road, you can't really get close to their limits unless you are taking absurd liberties. So a car has to be good at sensible speeds. It has to talk to you. It has to tell you what it's up to and try and make you have a good time. And this does that. This really does do that. The steering's terrific. Body control is sensational. The ride is really good. I mean, it's got this linked hydraulic damper system. It's a step on from the one on the 650S. There are more sensors. It reacts more quickly. It preempts things. The idea is to keep the body flat and the wheels in contact with the ground all the time. And it's really good. I mean, in terms of ride and handling balance, this is the best car in the class. In terms of steering feel, speed, weight, this is the best car in the class. In a minute, we'll go to the circuit. Oh, God, it's really good. It's really nice. I'd like it to sound a bit better. Beyond that, you know, I'm struggling to think what more I could want from a road car. Okay, so this is what it is like on a circuit. I've got the active stuff turned up, so I can try to get ESC into sport, but it needs to be a little bit warmer, I think, than it is before it does it. But what I can tell you, this track is quite bumpy, but even though I'm in the track mode, it is not harsh at all. All of that fluidity, fluency, whatever you want to call it, out on the road is here on the circuit as well. However, that doesn't mean it feels soft. I mean, absolutely far from it. Body control feels really tight. You don't really get any hints of turbo lag or anything out here. You get a bit of wind noise building up, don't you? Engine sounds very smooth. This has got the sports exhaust. I'm in track mode, so it should be louder than standard, but it's still relatively subdued, relatively muted. Oh, by heck, it really gets on quickly. I mean, really gets on. You could certainly feel the power over a 650S. I think you could probably feel it over a 675 LT. It's maybe slightly less urgent at the top than a 675. There's so much oomph, there's so much torque, and what is really, really nice about it is the steering is just beautiful. This hydraulic steering occasionally sort of kicks back on the road and tells you that there's some weird surface changes. On a circuit, it is just impeccable, immaculate. It's so perfectly weighted at sort of 2.5 turns lock to lock. Great gearing, great speed, great feel and feedback. Brake pedal is absolutely solid and the brakes are sensational. Just the high-speed stability and everything is absolutely sensational. It's just spot on. I think this is the best riding, best handling car in this class. There's one slight sticking point. It's got a Ferrari 488. Ferrari's got an electronically controlled limited slip diff. This has an open diff with brake steer, so they do go about things in different ways. But where we've had a criticism before of, say, the 650S, it doesn't quite give you those mid-corner options of a 488. Well, this car actually does. As you turn and you lift, it feels like it's pivoting right around this middle, and then as you pick up the power again, you can start to steer it wonderfully on the throttle. It's got variable drift control. You have to go into an option to get it. You have to sort of find out what it does, and it limits the amount of opposite lock it will give. It will let a certain amount of angle on and then stop things. It's good fun. Slightly better with everything off, I think. But as a track tool, as a track machine that is also an everyday usable supercar, I'll tell you what, this takes some beating. There are circumstances where you might think, yeah, probably a 488 might be slightly more enjoyable mid-corner on a circuit, but this is really close now. I would want to try them absolutely back to back to have that real definitive decision, because I think this, without question, is the best car McLaren has ever made. It is a really strong possibility that it is the best supercar you can buy at the minute. It's that good. It's absolutely sensational.